Männer. Es war ein langer Krieg. Es war ein tapfer Krieg. Ihr habt tapfer und stolz für euer Vaterland gekämpft. Seid eine besondere Truppe, die ineinander...
Hey everyone, this is the Hydra Hood here, and this is Die, Die, Die by Kirkman, Burnham, Gimple, and Fairbairn. It's mature readers only. Technically it's Image. Actually it's Skybound. It's the same thing though, it's just different names so they can do different types of titles. So this is a, what they call it, I think the LCS is calling it a secret comic. It got no sort of advertisement or anything like that. It just basically showed up as purchasable, so people suddenly had it in stock. Which is kind of cool from the way I understand it. Back in the old day, there was a lot of times where you'd see comics that there was no sort of like notification for, so there was a lot of surprises on the shelves. Now everybody's like knows exactly what's coming out basically. So that was a nice surprise, and that was one reason I got it. Also, Kirkman can be a really good writer. I think he's actually just doing the story and plot. And, no. He's the writer, but Gimple's the co-pilot, which makes me think that Gimple did a lot of it. Who knows, though? So, this is a very political story. This is a very violent story. This very much kind of parallels current society. Kirkman hasn't made any sort of specific stance on which side he is really for or against in this, which is nice. I prefer that. But just so you know, one of the main characters is a spitting image of Hillary. Obama is brought up multiple times. His picture is on one of the characters' desk. This is essentially about political assassinations. And so far, it hasn't really painted either side as the quote-unquote good guy. It did kind of glamorize Obama a bit, which was kind of stupid. I mean, I guess unless you're really down with drone murders, there's a good reason to glamorize the guy. But everybody that it glamorizes, except for him, is generally shown to be a pile of shit as well. The art is interesting. It's not bad. It's uniform, consistent, expressive facial features on the characters. It's also not the most attractive, though. Dialogue is it's not terrible dialogue, but it could be a lot better dialogue. Lots of fighting in this, which is cool. Also a fair amount of political stuff. I would say the cliffhanger at the end is definitely a cliffhanger. It's not something you would ever expect. It's nothing amazing. It's honestly feels kind of like a cop-out, except they stepped it up another notch. So I guess that kind of uniques it out a bit. Also, they stole a couple scenes from like 90s action movies, which is interesting to say the least. So this scene right here, this special agent flies down into this remote wooded wilderness mountain area. He's got some banter back and forth with the chopper pilot. He lands. There's just a little shack in the middle of nowhere, and he starts calling out to the guy. I don't know if you've seen Shooter, but this is pretty close to how Shooter starts. Of course, the guy he's trying to find is a badass who doesn't want company, so he's not approaching. The guy shoots at him to warn him, blah, 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 blah. Really, this episode is just this issue is just a big setup for all the ones to come. It's an enjoyable read. It's $3.99. I'd say it's worth $3.99 if you're into hyper-violent political extravaganzas. But it's not like something that, if you're unsure of, I would encourage you to rush out and get. I wouldn't say it's that impressive by any means. So, I think that's about it for this. I don't think I gave away any plot lines or anything like that. I should have showed any too bad of pictures. But that's really all I got to say about it. It's just kind of, It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to buy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hail Hydra, baby.